The Dark Knight. Where do I even begin with this one? I'm not joking when I say this is the hardest video I've ever had to do, not just because of editing and the time or anything like that, not just because this movie means so much to me, but because I really didn't know what else I could add to it. Everybody has made video essays on it. Kinda seems pointless to even make this video. The Dark Knight is probably my favorite movie ever made, right next to Batman Begins. They both fight for that #1 spot. Dark Knight takes it most of the time though. As a little kid, these movies and a plethora of other pieces of Batman media taught me the core ideas of not just Batman, but also filmmaking. Now I'm saying that, I'm not trying to imply the film is perfect. It isn't. No film is. I've never seen a film that is perfect. I don't think that exists. The film is not flawless, but to me, that's not really what matters. The amount of flaws don't matter. What matters is how good of a job the film does at hiding those flaws. How do you notice the mistakes? When do you notice the mistakes? Does the film do a good job hiding those mistakes? In the Dark Knight's case, I'd say it does. So without further ado, let's discuss why The Dark Knight is a beautiful superhero movie. Characters. The characters are my personal favorite thing about this film. In my opinion, there isn't one bad character in this film. Yes, there are some that are better than others, but there isn't one bad character. Let's start out with the Dark Knight himself, Bruce Wayne. In my opinion, Bruce Wayne doesn't get nearly enough attention in this film. I really wish more people would talk about him because I love his character in this film. And I will say I do prefer his character in the first one and The Dark Knight Rises, but his character is still great in this film. Bruce in this film has never dealt with anybody like the Joker, who challenges his ideals in a lot of ways he probably didn't expect. He even gets to the point where he's thinking of agreeing to Joker's terms. But what I find personally even more interesting is how Joker challenges his no-killing rule that has defined him for years.
You have all these rules, and you think they'll save you.
I have one rule.
Then that's the rule you'll have to break to know the truth. The only sensible way to live in this world is without rules. And tonight, you're gonna break your one rule.
I'm considering it.
So you're gonna have to play my little game if you want to save one of them. Killing is making a choice.
Choose between one life or the other. Friend the district attorney. Or his blushing bride to be.
You'll have to choose.
Joker tells Batman that he'll have to choose, and that is choosing between one life or the other. Bruce then has to make that decision when he told him about Rachel and Harvey. He has to make that decision again with Harvey again and Jim Gordon's son, and he actually does have to choose a life, and he ends up killing Harvey. Joker won. Batman doesn't go and do what he does, taking the fall for Harvey's murders. All the criminals he locked up are thrown back on the streets, but at the same time, if he doesn't kill him, Gordon's son dies. The Joker wins either way. He kills Harvey, he breaks his rule. He doesn't, the criminals get thrown back on the street, causing anarchy and chaos. The Joker is essentially unstoppable. Another aspect of his character I love is that Joker essentially takes everything away from him. The city hates him, Harvey turns into Two-Face, and he takes away Rachel, and yet Batman still chooses not to kill him. He chooses to be a hero. Now I want to talk about Harvey Dent, who's probably the most underrated character in this entire film. Similar to Ray, she serves as a mirror to Bruce Wayne, but in a different way. Similar to Bruce, he wants to rid the city of criminals, except he does it in the legal way that Bruce didn't think he could, which is one of the reasons why he's thinking about retiring other than Rachel. The Joker breaks both of these characters, taking Rachel away from them, and Harvey, half of his face, Bruce, a bunch of other things. Harvey, however, when he's broken, he's actually broken. He loses it. He truly becomes a villain.
You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yeah, I have no words for it. That's genuinely beautiful. I love how Nolan used the you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain thing. Rachel Dawes in this film is actually really good. In Batman Begins, I think she was very, very simple, as I said in the video. Too simple. She didn't really have much of a character, but in this film, she actually does, and she's actually pretty complex. At the end of the last film, Rachel tells Bruce that she'll always be there for him, and when he's done being Batman one day, they'll be together. In this film, she has a realization that that'll never happen. In this film, she finally starts to understand Batman and why the city needs him. The person she loved is never going to come back. It was actually very interesting to see how that all came down. Yeah, I can see people saying that was kind of cruel of her and she's kind of evil. I understand that, but to me it feels more human. It feels more realistic. Like I said earlier, Harvey is a mirror to what Bruce was trying to be, only through the legal system, and he probably reminds her of Bruce. Jim Gordon is a character I didn't ever really talk about in the Batman Begins video all that much, and that's because the best of his character really is in The Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. Don't get me wrong, he's great in Begins, he's awesome, but I think there's more to say about his character in The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. In this film, Gordon just wants the best for his family and for his city. He faked his death so his family would be safe, and he also did everything he could to stop Harvey from killing his son.
Harvey, I'm sorry for everything.
Please don't punish the boy. Please punish me.
Man, Gary Oldman is such a good actor. Gordon is typically portrayed as a single father with a dead wife or deceased, or they don't really ever go into details about his wife. But I think giving him that wife and putting more details on his family just gives him that much more depth. Now, the last character we really need to talk about is the one you've all been waiting for, the Joker. There's literally almost nothing I can say about this guy that has not already been said. This version of Joker is one of the best villains ever put to film. I'm not going to focus on all the things everybody else has said. He's a great villain. His performance was amazing. I'll talk more about Heath in just a few minutes here, but today, when I talk about the Joker, I want to talk about comic book accuracy and adaptations. When adapting a character, you want to make him unique, but at the same time be faithful to the source material. You want to try new things, sometimes for the best, like in Heath Ledger's case, and sometimes it's for the worst. In my opinion, Ledger's take on the character is the perfect example of when an adaptation goes right. Yes, he's very comic book accurate, but he also has a decent amount of changes to make him unique. A lot of people say that this isn't comic book accurate and that's what makes it so great, but I actually really disagree. I think he's way more comic book accurate than people give him credit for. You see, the Joker character from the comics has always been a playful, eccentric character that was threatening when he needed to be, but somehow still made you laugh. He was evil, but you're still laughing with him, and I feel like that's something Ledger absolutely nailed. He was scary where he needed to be, but still somehow made you laugh. He was a legitimately funny clown. Sure, he isn't bleached white, but that doesn't mean he's automatically inaccurate to the comics. Also, this version of the Joker has that same relationship with Batman that he does in the comics. He's kind of obsessed with him, or at least it's implied, but he says multiple times,
I don't want to kill you. You complete me.
You just couldn't let me go, could you? You truly are incorruptible. You won't kill me out of some misplaced sense of self-righteousness. And I won't kill you because you're just too much fun. I think you and I are destined to do this forever.
That is Joker. Now yes, Heath Ledger is not a perfect adaptation. He's not the Joker brought to the big screen like, say, Mark Hamill is. I'd say, if you want to be honest, the adaptation that's like comic accurate in every way are probably Cameron Monaghan's portrayals of the Joker and Mark Hamill's portrayals of the Joker. But Ledger is my personal favorite and is really accurate in his own ways. Something else I absolutely love about the character is he's right about a lot of things and makes some decent points.
To them, you're just a freak. They need you right now. When they don't, they'll cast you out. Their morals, their code. It's a bad joke. Dropped at the first sign of trouble. They're down, and these civilized people, they'll eat each other.
If Coleman Reese isn't dead in 60 minutes, then I blow up a hospital.
Another thing I love about the Joker is how they handle his origin. They don't actually tell you. They keep the mystery of it and have him tell separate stories. I've always loved the idea that we never actually find out the Joker's story. It adds a nice layer of mystery, kind of like, how did Michael Myers become crazy? I like how they do that. To me, the best interpretations of the Joker don't actually tell you his origin. In Gotham, they do still have the mystery. Yes, in Gotham, they tell you the origin, but with Jeremiah Valeska, there was still an element of mystery, and with Jerome, there was until Jeremiah came along. In The Dark Knight, Joker tells separate stories, so we never actually find out what the full origin was. I really love that element. I thought it was really creative. Now that's it for the characters, but now I want to make a tribute to someone. Heath Ledger. You can't talk about this film without paying respect to Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger did a lot of hard work to get prepared for the role of Joker, and you gotta respect him for that. He literally locked himself in a hotel room for a while and basically disappeared. just to prepare for the role of the Joker. That's kind of always been inspirational to me, how much he cared about his work and his craft and the roles he was given. It's always inspired me in a few ways. So when he tragically passed away, it really hit me. The thing that saddens me the most is Heath was never here to collect his rewards and never knew how big The Dark Knight was and how beloved his performance was. That genuinely breaks my heart. I'm just gonna finish off this tribute by saying rest in peace, Heath Ledger, and I sincerely wish the best for his friends and family. The filmmaking. The filmmaking in this film is vastly superior to that of Batman Begins, and hey, the filmmaking was great in that film, but this one, the filmmaking is even better. Again, I say I love the practicality of these films, but I also really love the way it's shot. It's not like, say, Ant-Man the Wasp. That film is shot extremely blandly, got reverse shot, and I think that's one of the many things that make it the worst MCU film quality-wise. It's not my least favorite, but I think quality-wise, it is definitely the worst. The Dark Knight is not shot like this. We have camera angles like these and these. Notice how in this scene they cut back and forth, but whenever they do, the camera moves slowly to the left or to the right. I think there's something very unique about the filmmaking in this film, and things like that are sprinkled out through the entire film. I also think the action in this film is a massive improvement from that of Batman Begins. It doesn't feel so choppy, and you can see what's actually going on in the fight scenes. I also love the screenplay in this film. It's faithful to the comic version of these characters, but still tells a new, original story. To me, this is a superhero film for people who aren't superhero fans and people who are superhero fans. It's a story about Batman, so that aspect alone is for superhero fans, but it's also a crime drama in some ways. Also, the pacing is perfect. Once again, it's not too slow or too fast. The pacing also gives the film a sense of urgency. This also has to do with the way Nolan uses time, but in the film, there always feels like there's stakes. Again, a massive sense of urgency. Next, we need to talk about the tone of The Dark Knight. A lot of people say this is a super dark and gritty movie, and while it is definitely that, there's also a decent amount of comedy. The difference is, unlike the MCU, it's actually good comedy. It's comedy that's not directed at the general audience, but the characters have with themselves. In the MCU movies, it's there strictly for the general audience, it doesn't feel real. In The Dark Knight, it does feel real.
Psychotic ex-boyfriends I should be aware of?
Oh, you have no idea.
What's the difference between you and me?
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
It's gone.
Soon, Gamble here won't be able to get a nickel for his grandma.
You think you could steal from us and just walk away?
Yeah.
What I did bloody tell you. They locked me up as well. It's your accomplice. Accomplice? I'm gonna tell them the whole thing was your idea.
The film has a good balance of comedy and serious dramatic moments. Now, the last thing I want to talk about are my two favorite Batman scenes ever that just happened to be in this film. These two scenes we're about to talk about are incredible, amazing. Again, the best Batman scenes ever, in my opinion. They capture everything about Batman, and in one scene's case, the Joker as well. The interrogation scene. In my opinion, this scene is the perfect visual representation of what Batman and Joker's rivalry is like. This scene really showcases that Joker is not a physical threat to Batman, but a mental one. In this scene, Joker is essentially beating Batman, but not by fighting him, but by showing him he's basically unstoppable.
Look at you go!
Does Harvey know about you and his little bully? You have nothing to threaten me with. Nothing to do with all your strength.
This is essentially a battle of their ideologies.
It's a villain overriding the tools the hero uses to force him to fight in a way he can't win. It's not a battle of strength or even wits, it's a battle of ideologies. It's an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object.
You complete me.
This scene is not only establishing the new characteristics of the Joker, but also staying faithful to the comics of Joker and Batman, their relationship.
Why do you want to kill me? I don't want to kill you. You're just a freak. Like me. They need you right now. When they don't, they'll cast you out. Like a leper.
This scene essentially is the ultimate Batman-Joker showdown. Something else that I think really makes the scene great is Batman and Joker have multiple interactions in this film, and before this they had 2 interactions. And that makes this scene much more impactful, especially when he kills Rachel. Or rather, the twist that Joker had Ramirez go get Rachel, but you get what I mean.
You don't want to hurt the boy, Harvey.
It's not about what I want. It's about what's fair!
In this scene, Harvey has been broken by the Joker. Finally, he's become Two-Face. He believes Gordon, Batman, and himself are responsible for her death, and they must all pay, or be given the same chance that Rachel had. He gave Joker that chance, he gave himself that chance, and now he's giving Gordon's boy that chance. The reason being he wants Gordon to lose somebody, the person he cares about the most, like he did. What I love the most about the scene is it's heartbreaking and Batman is trying to redeem him. That is Batman. He believes in redemption, and I feel like that's something Batfleck missed. And the saddest part is he fails in redeeming Harvey. It's very tragic, and honestly, when I first saw it, I was tense. I was like, well, he has to redeem Harvey, because that always happens in superhero movies. No, Harvey doesn't get redeemed, and that's the tragic part.
What happened to Rachel was a chance. We decided to act. We three.
I wasn't me who was the only one who lost everything.
It wasn't.
Joker chose me!
Because you were the best of us. He wanted to prove that even someone as good as you could fall.
And he was right.
You're the one pointing the gun, Harvey. So point it at the people responsible.
Batman is trying so hard to redeem him, but it's too late. Harvey Dent is dead. I also love this little moment after Harvey shoots Batman. The music is also amazing. The music keeps you tense, the acting keeps you tense, the writing keeps you tense, wondering what was gonna happen. Would Gordon's son die? Would Harvey die? Would Gordon die? And then Batman ends up killing Harvey.
Thank you. You don't have to thank me. Yes, I do. The Joker won. The Joker took the best of us and tore him down. I must never know what he did. 5 dead, 2 of them cops. God needs its true hero. I can do those things. Because I'm not a hero. Not like that. I killed those people. That's what I can be. No, you can't. You're not. I'm whatever Gotham needs me to be.
I love The Dark Knight. All these reasons and a couple more I'm about to list are why it's my favorite movie of all time, or at least probably is. They made me want to be a filmmaker. They made me fall in love with the art of film. Not just that, they taught me the core ideas of Batman. This trilogy represents everything I love about Batman. Sure, Bale is not the comic book Batman come to life on the page, but he's the perfect Batman for this trilogy. Yes, he doesn't have that voice in the comics, but I don't think that makes him any less a great Batman. Just about everything in this film works for me. The filmmaking, the direction, the writing, almost everything does work for me. The characters, Batman works for me, Joker works for me, everything works for me. Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises showed me who Batman was, and I'll always be grateful to them for that. They inspired my love for Batman along with the Arkham games and the Batman animated series. To me, The Dark Knight is about as close to a perfect film as you can get. Once again, I don't think any film is flawless necessarily, but I think Dark Knight is pretty close to being flawless.